Hey guys, it's Brooke. Welcome back to Inside Renovation. Really excited about today's episode with Pastor Kody. We're going to talk about some daily decisions that you can make to help yourself make a difference. Pastor Kody.
What's up, girl?
You ready for this?
Let's do it.
I love that last podcast we talked about kind of how to discover your purpose and kind of trying to continue that conversation, but almost in a different way. I know that one of the ways you lead is you just want to make people better.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk about some of those ways that we can help people make a difference.
Let's do it. Yeah, for sure. So as a church, our vision for every single person, help them follow Jesus, find community, discover purpose, which we talked about, and then make a difference. And so this will be more of a conversation, I think. This how do you make a difference in life where you are? It's not just for church. It's not just even in your faith. As a mom, dad, parent, coworker, business leader, whatever it is, how do I make a long-term difference? Because I think that's what people ultimately, I think that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants their life to count. They all want it to matter. I think deep down, we all want to leave a legacy, right? Like a life that outlives us for the next generation and our children and our children's children. That's a concept, no matter what you believe, you kind of live by. You want to know that what you're doing today matters. And I think the way in which we make a difference, I think sometimes we think about it in these grand gestures where I have to do something big.
Yeah.
But the people who make the biggest difference are the people who do things daily.
Right.
I've heard it said like this, great leaders do consistently what other leaders do occasionally. So it's really the idea of how do I implement maybe some daily decisions or habits, if you want to call them that, in your life that will help me make a difference for the other people, but also that will make a difference in my own life, in me, my mental health, all of it. So that's kind of what I want to dive into today.
And I love that you're making this so easy for people because it really doesn't have to be complicated.
No.
And this first one, when you said this out loud the first time, I was like, all right, add me on Instagram.
Right. There you go.
PK, this one is seriously so good. So talk about this kind of no snooze mentality.
Yes. So first habit, quit hitting the snooze button. Stop hitting the snooze button. So everybody wakes up differently, right?
Right.
Some people wake up naturally, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but that's me. 5:30 a.m., 6, I have an internal clock, and I am up. I don't care if I go to bed at 9 p.m. or 1 a.m. I can't sleep past 6:30. I don't know why.
I was like, forget that boom clock over here.
And I'm one of the guys I get up, and I'm like, hey, what are you doing? You doing okay? You ready to get the day? And Jessica's like,
shut up.
Oh, no. And then you have people who set an alarm, and it goes off, and they're like, okay, so I'm going to get up, and they'll get up.
Yeah.
And then you have everybody else which is 57% of the population. That's study done by Notre Dame. There's 57% of people who hit the snooze button at least twice, if not more than that. And here's what researchers show. Again, there was this study Notre Dame that they did, and 57% of people hit the snooze button. And again, that doesn't mean you're less than, you're not cool, whatever. But they've actually shown it actually does affect the way you operate throughout the rest of the day.
Now tell us the details about this.
Okay.
Because the way you explained this to me earlier, I'm like, it makes so much sense.
Yes. So what happens is when the alarm goes off the first time, you're naturally you're hit with adrenaline, right? And so your amygdala in your brain lights up essentially and gives you the energy, but then you're suppressing it because you're no, I'm good. So you got all this boost of energy all of a sudden, I got to get up. Oh wait, never mind, I don't want to. So you suppress it. Then you do it again, and then you do it again. And what they found is that it actually will cause you to become fatigued quicker and earlier later on in the day and be less effective because you basically, when you got those adrenaline boosts, instead of doing anything with it, you suppressed it.
Yep. You're getting that 2 p.m. caffeine.
That's right. And I still do, though. Just tell the record, this is not but I just think the mentality behind this is, I believe, great. I think starting early, early bird gets the worm. I've always believed that. But if you can't start early, still start strong. And that's my big thing. Okay, if you sleep till 9 a.m., 10 a.m., great. You work long, whatever. You want to sleep, your day off, dope. But just when you do start, get up and give yourself the best opportunity to do great that day. And so start out strong if you're not going to start early. If you can do both, great. And maybe it's a slow progression towards all right, I'm going to get up earlier. Why? Because no one else is awake yet.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to wake up before the world wakes up. And then you learn to prioritize what really matters. And so I just did a series on Psalm 23. And one of the things it talks about with a shepherd and a sheep relationship, which I'm sorry, this is super pastoral here.
Bring it.
But
it's all right.
Sheep got to have 70% of water, or they're made up of 70% water, but they got to drink 5 gallons of water a day. And in the context in which that was written, it was in the Negev desert. And so finding 5 gallons of water per day
in the
for
desert.
Sheep in the desert is a hard thing. But one of the things the shepherds would do is we'd get the sheep up early in the morning, right as the sun was rising in the pasture. And I believe the most important water intake they would have that day was from the dew on the ground.
Yeah.
And that would give them the strength to actually go throughout their day. And I just think that applies regardless of if you're a sheep or not.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there is something about the dew on the ground, the early morning riser, that has the opportunity, man, to get refreshed. And for me, I think what that looks like is my time with the Lord.
Yeah.
And so, like, I have to make this decision. Like, I'm not going to hit the snooze. I'm not going to, like, I could get more sleep, but what my soul actually needs is to be refreshed by my Maker.
Right.
And so, like, I'm going to get up. And again, as I'm getting up, my body's getting going, my mind's getting going. And then the first thing for me is, like, I actually want to spend time with God. And I want to get, like, my soul refreshed early on in the morning.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, like, I used to, I was always like a late night owl, and I could brag about it. Like, oh, I'm a night owl, it'd be up till 2 or 3 a.m. And then you got kids. And now it's like, at like 8:30, I'm done. I'm toast.
Yes.
I am done. My brain used to fire at night.
Yep.
And then I could just sleep all in the mornings or whatever. And I just look back at that season of my life and, like, again, some people, like, man, they're wired that way and they crush the game. This is not a judgment thing. Everybody is a morning person. But at the same time, I think sometimes we use it as an excuse.
Totally.
Like, it's not how I am. And it's like, well,
you could be.
It's not how you want to be.
Right.
You could be that, right? Like, go have 3 kids and then come holler at me.
If they tell me you want to stay up till
you want to get in shape, you're going to find a way to be a morning person. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I got to figure out how to make the decisions I want to make early on in the morning, no snooze.
Well, and that's too, like, a way too that you can make your family better too, because I know my husband specifically started doing that. He started waking up super early, spending his time with the Lord in the morning, going to the gym, getting things done. So that way when he's home at 5 o'clock, he doesn't have to say, like, oh, can I go to the gym really quick and then spend 2 hours there and then dinner and things like that. So it really is that, like, priority mindset of just that no snooze mentality. And specifically for myself, I know when I wake up early, like, there'll be days where I'm like, I got to get up this morning because I got so much stuff to do today. I got to get work done.
All right.
I'll get up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'll crush it. I'll have all my work done by 10 a.m.
That's
and
right.
Like, what is going on?
Oh, that's right.
And then
100%.
the days that I snooze till 8:45, 9 o'clock, it's 3:30, and I'm like,
I've got nothing done
to do. Yeah, my brain's just not.
It throws me off.
And it makes so much sense.
Yeah, I think what it does too is it also trains your brain that, like, the first thing in the morning is actually important.
Yeah.
And it's like, I have something to do that is important in the morning. And so I think for whatever that is for you is, like, I think starting your day with something that matters, matters. Like, it's like, I'm going to decide right off the get, man, in the morning time, I'm going to get up and I'm going to spend time with Jesus. Because for me, that's what's most important to me. It may not be what's important to everybody. I hope it is. But if it's not, I think figuring out how do I start my day and train my brain to go, hey, when that gets up, I have a significant work to do.
Yep.
And I'm actually going to engage in that. I'm actually going to do it right from the get. I'm not going to press it off. And you do. Like, I think it goes into, obviously they were talking a little bit about time management, right? I'm not a huge fan of time management because we all have 24 hours in a day. And I get that, like, you talk about some of these are like really great leaders. They section out their days and they have like 2 or 3 days in one day where they focus in on, like, what's important, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's one, I think it's energy management. And so here's what I would say. Again, like, if you're not an early person, then, like, be effective. And so for me, I've just learned, like, how to, I look at my, like, energy rhythms of, like, when do I have the most energy? When am I the most focused? And that's when I go, okay, so I'm gonna do those things that matter most then.
Right.
And I'm gonna go, like, early in the morning, like, I write content, mainly sermons, but I write leadership stuff from about 5 until noon. That's 7 hours, and I'm done. And, like, then the rest of the day I can have meetings doing other things, making decisions about whatever. But, like, the best of me happens in the part that I have the most energy. For somebody like, I ain't no good at 5 a.m. Dope. Then quit doing your most important work at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Figure out, like, I still got to do this thing, but I'm going to do it when I don't need a lot of brain power. I don't have to be all there yet.
Right.
And so I think the same thing, trying to figure that rhythm out with my family. Right. So it's like, I know, especially on family days, my rhythm changes. because my priorities change, right? So like on a Friday, the most important thing isn't sermon writing at that point.
Yeah.
The most important thing is my family.
Right.
So they're going to get the best of my day. And if for some reason I have to do content or whatever else, it ain't getting the best of me anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
True.
It's something else. So anyway, which does get into our habit. I think we got to go there. And the second one I wanted to talk through is that habit of like predetermining or predeciding, as Craig Rochelle would say, like pre-decide what matters most. And that gets into your priorities.
And I think that this too doesn't have to be a complicated thing. Like it can get complicated and you can get more and more specific, but those pre-deciding like the priorities in your life really does help it's just that like second guess mindset that I feel like so many people have nowadays where it's like, there's so many things. I don't know. Should I not? Blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, decide. Yeah. Make it happen.
That's right.
Be confident in your decision. Yeah.
So then it's just figuring out, because I mean, I'm a 3 on the Enneagram. And so I'm very taskless. That's why I love you so much. Okay, here we go. That's right. Yeah. And so for me, it's like I'm very task driven. I'm very accomplish driven. Like I have to get things done or whatever.
I love crossing those things off the list physically.
Me too. Yeah. It's really difficult though when you like in ministry, your job's never done. And so it's never like, oh, yay. So you have to like create your own finish lines a little bit, which we'll talk about later. But the idea of going like, what matters most? So have you ever seen these, like there's like 4 quadrants? I wish I had like a board here. I would show you.
Upper top one.
Yeah. But you have like what is important, what's not important, what is urgent, and what's not urgent.
Yep.
And it's like the 4 quadrant decision making. And you want to get to the place where you learn, okay, I want to be living from a place where things are like, they're important, but they're not urgent because I've actually pre-decided and I've prioritized what's important to me, you know? And like, I don't want to live in a place where I'm always hurried. Everything has to be done right now. And if not, it's a life or death situation. Yeah. Like that just like, that's what causes anxiety.
I was just anytime I'm like, that will make you anxious.
100%.
You're making yourself anxious.
Yeah, that's right. When I am anxious, I'm like, it's because I've gotten behind and I haven't prioritized what matters most. And when you don't prioritize what matters most, somebody will for you.
1,000%.
Like you don't make your calendar will make you. Yep. Like it is the way it works. And so a part of that, like these thoughts are so connected because a part of hitting the snooze, in order for you to not do that, you have to predetermine what matters and why I'm not going to. Yep. And so for me, it's like I would always start with something that matters up front that's going to get you out the bed in the morning. Yep. You know what I mean? Like it is like, oh, whatever, TV, my show's on. Like that's not it. No. But something of significance to start your day is important. But that has to be a decision you predetermined. Yeah. Right? Like I think also like I don't ever wake up on a Sunday morning and pick out my clothes to preach in.
They're pre-decided.
Correct. I'm like, all right, I know. What am I going to wear tomorrow? You know what I mean? And it's like somebody like you make too much of a deal about that. I don't really care. But it's important for me as a 3. Yeah, my appearance matters. Right. I want to make sure I look good. You know what I mean? So it's like anytime you can pre-decide something and make a decision beforehand, do it. Whatever that is. Like big, small, whatever. If I can just go ahead and determine yes and no, now it relieves me from like decision fatigue later. And like I just think, man, especially in culture right now, like so many people are burdened with this decision fatigue because what happens is it becomes urgent, and unless you're just wired to like pop off and go on your feet quickly, you don't make any decision.
Nope. And then that cripples you.
That's right. Yeah. And indecision becomes your best friend, and you never. And here's what happens. That's how you get stuck. You're like, I don't know which way to go. I don't know go there. And so you quit actually making progress, and you're standing still. Right. And then you wonder like, well, why can't it's like I can't make a decision? Well, so much of this could have already been decided, but you didn't decide it ahead of time. And so now it's pressing, and now you feel conflicted and don't know what to do. Yeah.
And I love that you talked about just like picking out an outfit, how like small that can be,
100%.
But how big it can be. Because it's like you pick it out the day before, you've thought about it, maybe you've tried it on, you've looked at it, you're like, hey, this looks good. The morning of, 15, 20, 30 minutes go by, you're like, oh, I don't like this, ripping it off. Then you're making a mess. And then it's just setting you back.
Yeah. And it's crazy because like, again, we'll go small examples here. Like, even like when Jessica and I have a night, like Monday nights are a night Jessica and I have with just one kid, which is like no kids for us because 3 and 1 anyway. And so if we're like, hey, let's watch a movie tonight, and we don't have that movie picked out beforehand,
you're 30 minutes.
We're looking on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Apple TV for like an hour watching previews. And then by that time, it's like, well, crap, man, it's 9 o'clock. We haven't even started nothing. Let's just go to bed. Yep. Right? Or like We go on vacation. And I know everybody's not a planner like this, but I'm going, okay, what do we know we have to do on vacation? Yo, we're going to eat.
Yeah.
So while we're laying in bed, not doing anything really, we're going to actually like determine now, like, yo, let's look up some restaurants when we're in
So smart.
and let's figure out what restaurants we're going to go to.
Yep.
And we may not decide like the perfect night unless they need reservations, right? Or let's pre-decide the activities we're going to do as much as possible. We don't want to fill our whole schedule up,
right?
But then we're not there being like, what to do, and then find out, oh man, we had to make reservations for that and we can't, and we really wanted to do it.
Right, or you're sitting there scrolling, wasting time, looking at places.
100%.
An hour, 2 hours go by and you're like, we're not even going to on vacation.
Yeah.
We're just trying to make a decision.
That's
we
right.
can't.
That's right. And it's also, I mean, it's like, it's automating bills.
Yeah.
Like the amount of time, like I read this article, and I know like pastors make up stats all the time, but it's just legit. I just can't give you the reference. So just trust me on this one, okay?
Google
but like
it.
Google it. It's probably on Google. Probably on Wikipedia. It's where I got it. Somebody else's opinion. But like I read this thing one time where it talked about the importance of even automating your bills and how much time that saves you.
So much time.
And so like I know, again, like I got parents who are like, I'm not automating anything. We're going to pay the bill, in person and all this stuff. It's like, yo, by the time your life comes to an end, you've spent like days on end paying bills. Could have just been automated and you didn't even have to worry about it.
It's the same amount each month.
Yeah.
Plus or minus $20. You know what I mean? Like,
so like if you could automate it. And like we do that with as much as we can, because like I don't want to have to, it's brain power. I don't want to have to use remembering, oh crap, it's the 15th my mortgage is due.
Yep.
My mortgage is due every month on the 15th.
Same time, the same dollar amount.
It and be responsible with your finances. So I'm not having to be like, oh man, I forgot to pay my mortgage today because I got so busy doing everything else.
Yep.
So it's that idea, man, pre-decide what's important, determine your priorities. I think it's going to help you.
No snooze mentality. Pre-decide your priorities. I love these. And I know that we're going to kind of take a little walk through some more of these to help you just make a difference in the world. And there's small little decisions that you will be able to take. So we're going to continue this episode here for next week. We've got some more to share with you, so you're going to want to tune in.